Namaste, Pranam, Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva Manusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavatveshinim. O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna. The ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters. O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. And Sri Krishna, through the Bhagavad Gita, in this Akshara Brahma Yoga, the 8th Adhyaya, the Yoga of imperishable Brahman, is teaching us about the process of salvation. And he is clearing the doubts that Arjuna has raised regarding what is Brahman, what is Adhyatma, what is Karma, what is Adibhuta, what is Adidaiva, what is Adiyajna, and how is it, Sri Krishna, that you have said that these great yogis at the last moment when they cross over with the alert mind, Yukta Chetasaha, they come to me. How it happens? And in the 3rd, 4th Shloka, Sri Krishna has addressed the earlier 6 aspects of Arjuna's doubts. In the 5th Shlok that we read last time, Sri Krishna told us about this process of the Prayana Kale, the Antakale, how it happens. And Sri Krishna verily tells us there is absolutely no doubt about it. Don't have any confusion in your mind how this happens at the last moment. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. Thinking about me. Those muktva kalevaram, those who leave this body. Thinking about me, fully, with the mind fully focused on me. Yah prayati samadbhavam. Samadbhavam. He who goes beyond from the life phase to the death phase. He who goes forth. Prayati, saha prayati madbhavam. He attains to me only. And on that, na asti atra samshayaha. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Sri Krishna clearly told us that is how a person at the last moment thinking about me, thinking about the imperishable Brahman, leaves this body. Now, the person may not be able to think about the imperishable Brahman as such, but he can think about Krishna. The person can think about Rama, the person can think about Buddha, the person can think about Ramakrishna and make this crossover. And in that instance, when the Jivatman crosses over this limited frame of body from this Kshara body, when the Jivatman becomes free, Sri Krishna says, he attains to me. Mat bhāvaṁ prayati. He comes to me only. Nothing, nowhere else he goes. Provided he thinks about me at the time of leaving this body. Now, in the 6th Shlok, what becomes of those who do not think of the Lord, but get fixed in other thoughts at the time of death? This is what normally we see. I mean, Sri Krishna says this is what usually happens. that yam yam vāpi smaran bhāvaṁ tyajatyante kalevaram tam evaiti Kaunteya sadā tad-bhāva-bhāvitaḥ. O Kaunteya, O Arjuna, O son of Kunti. Now, Krishna is referring to Arjuna as Kaunteya, the embodied being which has come out from the body of Kunti, the son of Kunti, O Kaunteya. Now Sri Krishna is telling him, what happens to those? Yam yam vāpi smaran bhāvaṁ. Whichever thoughts, vāpi smaran bhāvaṁ. Smaran bhāvaṁ is remembering. At the time of, at the last moment, whichever thoughts, whichever things, these beings, they remember. Tyajatyante kalevaram, at the time of leaving the body. It may not be that everybody remembers things about the Lord at the time of death. It cannot happen. If that happens, the creation will stop. The play of Lord, the play of the Divine Mother will stop. If everybody, each and every being thinks about the Akshara Brahman at the time of death. If each and every being starts thinking about the chosen deity at the time of death, this creation will stop. There will be no fun. There will be no influence of this Yoga Maya. So, Sri Krishna says, yam yam vāpi smaran bhāvaṁ tyajatyante kalevaram. At the time of death, whichever things are uppermost in their minds at the time of leaving the body, tam evaiti Kaunteya sadā tad-bhāva-bhāvitaḥ. Tam evaiti Kaunteya. Whatever they think, to that course, O Kaunteya, they proceed to gain those objects. Whatever being a man thinks of at the last moment when he leaves his body, that alone does he attain, O Kaunteya. Tam evaiti Kaunteya tad-bhāva-bhāvitaḥ. That is what they gain. Whatever is there at the top of their mind at the time of leaving this body. This is the great truth Sri Krishna is telling. If the mind is intent upon the Lord, there is absolutely no hassle. Sri Krishna says there is no doubt about it. Na asti atra samshayaha. Not an iota of doubt that that being will attain to me. But that doesn't happen. And Sri Krishna says, whatever things are there at the top of the mind while leaving this body, all such people, tam evaiti sadā tad-bhāva-bhāvitaḥ. They will, that alone does that person attains, O Kaunteya, being ever absorbed in the thought thereof. Tad-bhāva. That time it is not mad-bhāva. Sri Krishna earlier had talked about mad-bhāva, that I am in their thoughts. But now is the reverse case. It is not that people are thinking about the Lord. Mameva smaran. No. Here, muktva kalevaram yam yam vāpi smaran bhāvaṁ. They leave the body with whatever thoughts they have uppermost in their mind. Thoughts other than the Lord. Thoughts of the worldly matter. Thoughts of the worldly nature. And then they get entrapped in this cycle of life and death. Whichever thought they have, that they will get. So that is another truth that Sri Krishna is telling in this 6th shloka. Whatever being a man thinks of at the last moment. Now, Dream is only a projection of the mind and it has no corresponding external reality. But dream is the indicator of the trend of the mind of an individual. Now, when we dream something, now it is actually not happening, isn't it? It is actually not happening. But our dreams, when interpreted, they can tell so much about us. I mean, of course, there is a highly specialized field of analyzing the dreams and coming up with the personal traits based on the dreams that one dreams of. It cannot be recast or pre-arranged according to one's will and pleasure. We cannot pre-arrange our dreams. Just whatever is there in our subconscious, it starts reflecting in our dreams. And that is how our personal traits, they determine what we are dreaming of. Sometimes we get very holy and pious and divine dreams. Yes, our mind must be so much, involved in those kind of thoughts, in the divine thoughts. We dream, but that doesn't happen each and every time. Once in a while we get such wonderful, blessed dreams of the divine. But on the other occasions, we are either chased by the goons, or we are flying, or we are drowning in some body of the lake, or we are just roaming aimlessly, or we are doing all those things which we cannot do, but they are hidden there. So all these kind of things, they keep on happening in our life, in our dreams. Just as the dreamer is while in a dream, the creature of his own mental makeup, so does the dying man assume at the time of death a mental makeup based on his bent in the course of that career. Like we unconsciously we are planning our dreams. So also the person on the deathbed is actually writing the script for the next journey. The person who is going to breathe last, going to make the crossover, is writing the script of the next play, or maybe the next act of the same play. It continues. So whatever is there in the mind at the time of leaving the body, like our subconscious thoughts determine our dream, our thoughts at the time of leaving this body determine our future course of action. The gross manifestation at a suitable time and environment of that mental structure is what is called the next birth. If I am thinking of the Lord, if I am thinking of the mother at the time of death, there is nothing to be bothered about them. It is the last birth, it is the stage of nirvana. But at the time of death, if I start thinking about, oh, I should have done this, I had got such a wonderful chance of grabbing that opportunity and I wasted my opportunity. If that thought is uppermost in my mind at the time of my death, my future course of action, I have written the script. I take birth again. I come to this world again crying that my desires have not been fulfilled. I have to fulfill those desires which I had left off in my previous birth. Fortunately, the Maya is so beautiful. It erases all the old memories and we start afresh unknowingly. Like our dreams, unknowingly they come to us. Somewhere in the subconscious, somewhere something hidden, and suddenly we get a dream. In fact, we keep on wondering, how come I have dreamt of that? I was never thinking about it, but I got it. doesn't come just like that. It was there in the subconscious. The same thing happens. Although in the next birth, our entire memory slate is clean, wiped out. But still, that subconscious thing, maybe in that form, it keeps on taking us forward. Whatever is there, the backlog of the things that we are carrying with us, all that thing we are carrying with us from birth after birth after birth after birth, that determines our future course. Man is therefore always the architect of his destiny. So Sri Krishna has given us the wonderful formula of how to get out of this cycle. Think about me, come to me. Think about the worldly things, and again keep on repeating the birth and death, the birth and death, the birth and death. The choice is yours, Sri Krishna says. That whatever comes to you at the time of, and therefore the time of death, the prayana kal, what they say, the antakal, what they say, that is very critical when the life form is quitting this body. We may live 100 years, 200 years. I mean, of course, 200 years is out of question. But whichever time frame we live, with the way we spend our life, all that becomes immaterial then for that matter. But the most important, the most crucial point for a person's quitting this body, for the Jivatma living this body is, which is the thought that comes uppermost at the time of our death. Is it that we are thinking of our chosen ideal? I've seen such examples. I've seen the live example of my mother. Throughout her life, she was so much attached to us, to the family, me and my family. We were thinking there is no liberation for her. She will have to come back again and again and again. She is so much my son, my daughter, my grandson, all those things. But at the time of death, I have seen her death. Just before losing consciousness, she has the name of Ram Krishna on her lips. When she lost consciousness, when her speech got slurred, still she was repeating Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada, Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada. And within a matter of few minutes, it was all over. She lived for 90 plus years, and we were always kind of making fun of her, that you are so much attached to the world. You are so worldly. And she showed us the way how to die. So, in short, whatever way a person may lead the life, the thought which is uppermost at the time of the last moment, antakali, prayanakali, that determines the future course of the script. So that way, we are the script writers for our own destiny, for our own play, how we are going to make it. Are we going to be heroes? Are we going to be comedians? Are we going to be villains in our next? We are going to determine it. Or are we going to be liberated? Are we going to be attaining that stage of nirvana, the stage of mukti? We are the writers. So Sri Krishna says, whichever thought a person has uppermost in his mind at the time of death, that person will attain. And there is no doubt about it. Now on this particular thing, let me share with you the thoughts, the teachings of Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi. Ma said, the thought that is uppermost in mind before one loses consciousness determines the course of one's soul after death. Exactly the same words of Sri Krishna that our Ma is telling. The thought that is uppermost in mind, that determines our future course of action. Now, this is the great truth that Sri Krishna has told us. Now, how to do that? What is the key element of remembering the Lord at the time of death and getting rid of this cycle of birth and death? Just getting ultimate liberation, merging ourselves back to our source from the origin from where this Jivatman got separated, or so to say, manifested. So that Sri Krishna is going to tell us in the 7th shloka how to attain it. So till then, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji.